Hey everybody, this is the Wednesday show. This is Sylvia, so let's just get right into it. Okay, so the madman in the White House gave a speech to the United Nations and completely humiliated the entire country. I don't think there's anybody except for maybe some of those fringe alt-right people, even them actually alt-right aren't happy. Those weird conservatives who just kind of like want to see tough guy, or the Trumpians, those people that just support Trump irrespective of what he does. Those people thought, oh, that was the greatest speech ever. Because these are just people who just have absolutely no understanding about the world or how these relationships work, or what the UN actually stands for, and what our agendas should be as a country, and how the history of this country, and why this country is considered the most powerful country in the world. They don't have any understanding about that. They don't understand why alliances are important, and why we need to have friendships and relationships all over the world. They have no comprehension when it comes to that. So those people liked his speech. Every sane person did not. And the reason why the sane people did not like his speech is because, one, it was very contradictory. It was a paradox. And I said that yesterday on Twitter. It was a paradox. On one hand, it's like, American exceptionalism and America first, basically, and let's put our country first. And on the other hand, it's kind of like, we need to become a greater United Nations. We need to, make this a great entity, make this a great body. It was so inconsistent. And it was just really a madman raging and screaming and giving a speech that was aesthetically just a disaster. It looked terrible the way he was delivering it. And then it was also not well received by the rest of the world. Now, let me explain something to those people who continue to cheer him on and encourage him to do these things. Let me explain to you something. The reason why the United States of America is protected, and the reason why nobody wants to infiltrate the United States of America, or no one's attacked the United States of America, except for obviously 9/11, etc. But the United States has never had a war or anybody attacked or bombed the United States. That's just never happened. It's not just because the United States has the greatest military in the world. It is also because of the fact that the United States has the best alliances in the world. And the United States gives money to these other countries. You know why? To create that dependency, so that nobody will try to go to war with the United States. Nobody will try to fight the United States. The United States can control how the globe operates. That is important. If you live in the United States, I don't want to live in a country that's getting bombed every day. I don't want to live there. I don't want to be in a place where countries are constantly threatening the United States. This is where I live. This is where I was born and raised. This is the only country that I have ever lived in. I don't want the country that I live in, the country that I am from, I do not want it to turn into a shithole. And so for those people who are out there screaming and excited because he went and told the United Nations and basically gave them a spanking, for those of you people who are encouraging that, you have absolutely no grasp on why it is important that the United States has these diplomatic relationships. Look at what North Korea is doing right now. North Korea is telling the United States to go fuck itself in every which way you could possibly tell the United States to go fuck themselves. We go to war with North Korea. Okay. Presumably, some of our allies will come to war with us if we're attacked. If we just strike them or do a preemptive strike or something like that, I don't think we're going to have as many allies coming in. It'll be another Iraq war where they send 5 troops and 6 troops and 10 troops over here and there. That's what it'll be again, because the rest of the world is not respecting us the way that they used to. They're starting to forge these new relationships and create these new alliances outside of the United States and investing in other things. And for those people who say, nationalism, we need America first, I am not in disagreement with you when it comes to putting the interests of American citizens before anybody else. I don't disagree with you on that. I'm 100% in agreement with you on that. However, America first does not mean isolationism. And what's happening right now is Donald Trump is essentially isolating the United States from all those relationships that have been built over decades of building these relationships. He is literally systematically destroying them one by one because these crazy people that support him believe somehow that we need to live in a society where the United States just doesn't get involved. The United States doesn't get involved. The United States is going down in flames. The reason why you are the most powerful country, the reason why nobody wants to strike you, the reason why you control the global order, the reason why you can do that is because you dominate when it comes to alliances. We cannot afford as a country to not have those relationships anymore. But what Trump is doing is he's single-handedly dismantling those relationships. And that is a problem for all of us. Seriously, it's not funny anymore. Some of the things he used to do, the antics, the theatrics, it was kind of interesting. It's not funny anymore. It just isn't. No one's laughing. This is now a matter of life and death. This is a matter when you have a country like North Korea who has a unhinged madman as their leader, and then the United States of America has an unhinged madman as in the White House. There's so many bad things that could possibly happen with that situation. The dynamic are just horrific. I would honestly suggest to every single person who listened to that speech and in some way felt inspired somehow and felt like the United States needs to be tough on the rest of the world and strong with the rest of the world. Are you fucking kidding me? The United States has always been strong and tough against the rest of the world. That's why the United States is number one. What are you talking about? You want the United States to go bully people and then all of a sudden the people who have been bullied tell you to go fuck yourself? Because that's essentially what's going to happen next. Sooner or later, they're just going to be like, look, United States, fine, go on your own. We'll see how long you survive, considering you're in 21 or $20 trillion in debt. We cannot, the United States doesn't have these great natural resources. We are a country that imports a lot of the stuff that we all use. Everything you look at is made in China. The United States couldn't afford to not have their stuff made in China. Consumers wouldn't be able to afford it. I mean, it costs too much money in the United States to produce these things. And we need them. So for all these people who consistently talk all this shit, you're not understanding what is going on, and you have absolutely no comprehension on the world history, world politics. You just don't understand it. So you shouldn't comment on it, because you're going to get the rest of us killed. When Donald Trump went there and insulted Kim Jong-un and called him Rocket Man in front of the entire world, insulted him, he was the most infantile, juvenile president that anybody has ever seen. It was embarrassing. Not only that, you went and said that in front of the whole world. Do you think that this egomaniac in North Korea is not going to do something stupid now to prove that he's not a bitch? Look. And then, oh my God, he threatens to basically annihilate and erase North Korea if they don't basically do what the United States wanted to do. First of all, this is just my opinion on North Korea. North Korea has a right to create nuclear programs if they want to. If everybody wants to give up their nuclear programs, great, I'm for it. Why do we need nuclear weapons? I don't understand why we have them in the first place. But to say that United States and all these few select countries, we're going to let you have nuclear weapons because we think you are like us. The United States doesn't have the right to tell a sovereign nation what they can and cannot do, or what they can and cannot create. North Korea has a right to protect themselves. They have the right to have nuclear weapons. If the United States and all these other countries, China and Russia and all these other countries are going to have nuclear weapons, why can't they? So this is really a non-issue. It's just the United States trying to be a bully to a country that they think that they can dominate. You notice they won't strike, because if that was a Middle Eastern country or a poorer country, they would have gone ham. But they won't strike North Korea. You know why the United States won't strike North Korea? It's because a lot of times what we do is we go in and we bully the smaller and weaker countries, which scares those bigger countries. And that's a good tactic typically in a schoolyard. It's not a good tactic on the world stage, because eventually you create too many angry people. And we're kind of seeing that playing itself out in a lot of this terrorism and etc. But that's another issue for another day. But the truth is, North Korea has the right to have nuclear weapons if they want to have nuclear weapons. It might not make us feel comfortable, it might not make us feel safe, but who the fuck is the United States to tell them that they can't have nuclear weapons while the United States has nuclear weapons? It's just insulting. And there's nothing that shows that North Korea is trying to threaten, South Korea or threaten anywhere else, or the United States, if they're trying to do anything. It looks like they're just testing their nuclear weapons. Do they work? Testing the weapons that they've created. Why can't they? And if you've seen North Korea's army, and I'm just going to tell you this right now, the one thing I can definitely say is that our troops could not go into ground battle with them. We would just have to be bombing all over the place if we go to war. Because if you've seen that army, they will... Look, the United States hasn't really won anything without the rest of the world. How long have we been in Iraq and in Afghanistan, all these other places, still trying to rebuild these places and doing all this bullshit? When are those wars going to end? The United States is in perpetual war. And now this guy is encouraging going to war with a country that has warned, we'll kill everybody. We'll kill them all. We'll kill every single person we can kill. We'll kill them. And you think the United States is not going to have, if not thousands to maybe millions of casualties? Because if you think the North Koreans are just going to go down without a fight, it's not going to happen. If you think Seoul, Korea at least, I'm saying, maybe not the United States, because depending on how many troops we send over there, but Seoul, are you going to tell me that they're not just going to obliterate all the people in South Korea? Or they're not going to go after Japan? It's going to be literally World War III. And then what's going to happen is China and Russia, who have already said they will go in on behalf of North Korea if the United States fucks around. China has 1.5 billion people. The United States has 350 million. Do the fucking math. We'll be obliterated. We're gone. Russia they have like 150 million or whatever it is. But Russia also has some of the most powerful nuclear weapons. They'll just obliterate the United States. And believe me, they've been wanting to do it for a long time. We don't need a madman in the White House. We don't need a crazy, erratic maniac in the White House. We don't need it. We need to get rid of this guy that's in the White House. He's got to be impeached. And that's what we need to be focusing on. Because this is no longer about the antics and theatrics and the comedy and everything else. It's not about that anymore. That was funny maybe back then. Now it's time for you guys to wake up. Sober the fuck up. This is life and death. This is about longevity versus limitation. This is about the end versus the continuation. And I know if you hear conservatives will hear this, like, oh, there's another a liberal just acting out. Oh, at the end of the world and everything else. Are you joking? You think World War III with the nuclear weapons that we have right now won't be the end of the world? I mean, yeah, when I say end of the world, I'm not saying that no one's ever going to survive. I'm saying the world that we know right now, it's done. There's World War III, it's over. Everybody, the countries are just going to be flying over other countries, bombing them to oblivion. Can you imagine the United States getting bombed? Can you imagine how that will change your life? I mean, the people in like Syria and all these places, they're used to the United States just destroying their countries. But the rest of us are not used to seeing that nonsense. And I don't want to get used to seeing that nonsense. I don't want to be in a country that's getting bombed. That's one reason why a lot of people probably want to come here. It's the safest place you could probably be. I mean, obviously, we do have problems, guns and, drugs and all this other stuff. We have so many other problems that will kill a lot of people. But I'm talking about in terms of an outside attack. This is probably one of the safest places you could possibly be. It won't be if we continue to chastise the rest of the world. Sooner or later, people are going to stand up for themselves and tell us to go fuck ourselves. The only reason why they're not is because they have diplomatic relationships with other people and they don't really take Trump seriously. But when Trump starts to act on those things and he chastises them in front of the whole world, they have to respond somehow. People are watching to see if they're punks. The people in their own countries love their country. They don't want their country to look like bitches. So the thing is, this is my position. It is time for people to wake up. The speech that Donald Trump gave at the United Nations was a catastrophe. It was a disaster. It was the worst thing he could possibly have done for the United States of America. And believe me, this man has done so much damage already. But it's one of the worst things he's done from the point of safety and security for this country. This is a guy who talks about keeping the United States safe. The United States is not going to be safer with this guy screaming at other countries on the world stage. We have alliances for a reason. They matter. It's important. And everybody who continues to talk all that cowboy bullshit, you forget those things. The truth is, Donald Trump is unfit. He's unfit. He's a madman. And we need to get this madman out of the White House. We need him to be impeached and removed from office. That should be our focus after hearing that speech. That is what we should care about. Till next time.